New York Post Nets beat writer Brian Lewis has multiple articles up on the Post website, from everything from breaking down the what ifs and the who ifs heading into the February 8th trade deadline to the status of Ben Simmons. And Brian checks in with us now, pretty much fresh out of practice. Brian, thanks for joining us. I guess we'll start off with the trade deadline. We get the latest on what the Nets trade deadline plans are with less than a week to go? Like, what are you hearing when it comes to Sean Marks possibly making a move?
Well, I'm hearing that they're active and that they're busy. Many people have asked whether they're going to be sellers or whether they're going to be buyers. I think there's a good chance that they'll be both. They have three 30-somethings that are all drawing at least varying degrees of interest around the league. Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Royce O'Neal. I would be surprised if all three of them are still here by Thursday. My suspicion is at least one, if not more, will be moved. And all three have different suitors, have teams that are interested in them. The Lakers seem to be a good fit. As far as incoming players, well, that's a different story. And that depends on what kind of level of player you're looking at. I think their interest is still genuine in DeJounte Murray. But that might end up being a bridge too far, because right now Atlanta is looking for 2 first-round draft picks, and Brooklyn has no interest in giving up 2 first-round draft picks. That's where we circle back to the Lakers, who, by the way, are interested in all 3 of those players. D'Angelo Russell seems a salary fit. You could theoretically see him coming back for a reunion in Brooklyn. That's certainly not a guarantee, but that's just a possibility. If they can't get DeJounte Murray, that you could end up seeing them bring D'Angelo Russell back to Brooklyn for a second stint. Those are all some of the things that are in place, some of the balls that right now Sean Marks is trying to juggle.
When you mention those 3 players that could be likely moved, does that mean that Sean Marks is kind of not giving up on the season, but just playing chess in terms of playing a longer game?
Well, they don't have any intention of giving up on the season. I know that there is a loud subsegment of their fan base that would love to see them tear it down and rebuild from scratch, right? To go the OKC route. That is not something that they have any interest in doing. That's why they have essentially rejected all offers for Mikal Bridges. They were offered 4 first-round draft picks for Mikal Bridges. That was last year at the deadline. He has only gotten more valuable in their eyes since then. It's not a situation where they have any interest in moving him. That includes in a deal going to Houston to get back the remainder of their draft assets that they gave up to get James Harden. That's also something that they've rejected. So I wouldn't say that he's giving up on the season, because if he were, he could get a windfall for Mikal Bridges. You trade Bridges and you trade Cam Johnson, and that completely changes the complexion of the team. That is not something that they have any interest in doing. They are going to try to build around those guys. But when you have a bunch of 26, 27-year-olds and some younger 22-year-olds, and then 3 30-year-olds, those 30-year-olds don't exactly fit the timeline. I think that's more what this is about, is having pieces that don't fit your timeline that have value. Dorian Finney-Smith that's 2 first-round draft picks that they rejected at last year's trade deadline for him. Royce O'Neal, that could be another first-round pick, or the equivalent level of player. That's 3 picks. And then Spencer is worth whatever Spencer is worth on the open market. I think this is more about playing, as you say, the long game than it is about punting on the season.
So when you talk about Mikal Bridges, so there's no way that he's leaving Brooklyn, basically what you're saying.
I mean, I wouldn't say no way. I mean, obviously, if somebody wants to come, offering Luka, or offering Giannis or Jokic. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
there's always a way. There is always a value for any player, whatever that player is. What I'm saying is the people that want to see this team tear it down to the studs and feel that the only path to success, or the overwhelmingly most likely path to success, is a complete tank job, those people probably will be disappointed. I am saying the odds of Mikal Bridges being moved for anything any offer that's remotely likely to come probably won't happen. They don't want to trade him. They're not looking to trade him. They're not itching to trade him, and they are not endeavoring to trade him.
That just blew the steam out of a lot of Knicks fans' sails just now, because obviously Mikal Bridges to the Knicks has been the hot topic on all the podcasts and everyone's been talking about. So now we can kind of put that to bed, at least for now. Ben Simmons, can you give us an update on his health? Will he be back on the court anytime soon with that left knee contusion?
Yeah, it would appear that both Ben and Brooklyn dodged a bullet. Anytime Ben Simmons is listed on the injury report or even comes up gimpy, it's very understandable why Net fans get worried when you consider how much time he has missed. But we reported last night that Ben Simmons was expected to play. The injury was minor. He had some swelling, but he didn't need to get the knee drained. He took some anti-inflammatories, which have kicked in, and that he was prepared to work out and was expected to play. We reported all that last night, and discounting the medical aspects of that, Jacques Vaughn essentially confirmed all of that today at practice, that Ben was a limited participant in practice and that they would hope and expect that he would play in Philadelphia tomorrow, which, of course, Ben going back to Philly is an entirely different storyline.
Never a dull day when it comes to the Brooklyn Nets. Brian Lewis will be coming back to you for sure, especially with the trade deadline coming up. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, no worries. Thanks for having me.